Hi everyone, my name is Dr. Lauren Aguilar. I've been doing research in the social sciences for the last 20 years on team dynamics, diversity, and inclusion. So let me get right to the point. We all know that unconscious and conscious bias exists. But the bigger question is, what can we do about it? The answer? A lot. We can all be bias disruptors. And one way to disrupt bias is to stop it in its tracks wherever key business decisions are made. Today's bias disruptor addresses one of the biggest factors that determines employee development: talent reviews and calibrations. They have a direct effect on success at our company, so it's vital that we keep this process fair and inclusive. The truth is, however, everyone has some bias. And don't forget, bias can be unconscious. It can affect our decisions without our awareness, even when we have the best of intentions. Research shows that work from underrepresented racial minorities and women is proven to be scrutinized more, and the reviews contain more mentions of team rather than individual accomplishments. In addition, sometimes things are considered in evaluations that don't impact job performance, like personality traits or style. One study found that only 2% of men's reviews, as opposed to 76% of women's reviews, mention personality. Men are more than 3 times more likely than women to hear feedback related to a specific business outcome. And they receive nearly twice as many references to their technical abilities and vision. Now, given all these facts, hopefully you can see just how important it is to understand our own bias. So how do you know if bias is creeping into your reviews? Here are a few things to watch for. Confirmation bias. This is a tendency to search for, consider, or recall only information that confirms our existing point of view. Recency bias. This is the tendency to readily remember something that's happened recently compared to something that may have occurred a while back. Be aware of your outgroups. You may not realize it, but anywhere there are people, they're in-groups and they're out-groups. And these groups can be organized around things we can see, like age, race, or gender, or things we can't see, like tenure or prior company. Research shows that we may be easier on people who are similar to us and hold those who are different to higher standards. Vague language. Vague language is often a sign that some of these biases are being activated. Vague language can be harmful whether it's positive or negative. So when you use vague language, there's a greater chance you'll hold people to different and sometimes more rigorous standards. Those impacted most often are women and people of color. So here's one example of how vague language can mask inconsistent standards. She has a super positive and can-do attitude. People really enjoy working with her, and she's very involved in our company culture. Compare this to, last quarter he led a complex initiative involving several cross-functional teams. He implemented a communication strategy that kept our community informed and engaged, which led to a successful launch. Notice the difference? To combat this, let's introduce you to the SBI model, which can help you to replace vague language with more specific details. The SBI model is situation, behavior, impact. Situation, what was the context? Behavior, what did you observe? Impact, why was this important? This model will help you focus on facts and behavioral observations rather than assumptions. When you're more specific, you're more consistent. So here's the thing about talent reviews. Not only is it challenging to do a talent review, but it gets even harder to evaluate fairly when leaders all get together for calibrations. Why is this? Well, at that point, we run the risk of mixing all of our individual biases with normal group dynamics, like groupthink and anchoring on the highest status person in the room, which can all adversely affect outcomes. An example of how this can show up is the +1 trend. When someone agrees, sometimes we have a habit of simply saying, +1. That can be dangerous, as it's important to provide behavioral examples of why you agree. While it can be challenging to keep a fair evaluation process when dealing with group dynamics, it's possible once we build more awareness. So thanks for being a bias disruptor. You got this.